Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Wrath of Kahneman posted this: Terrapay, a Ripple user, has had a partnership with MTN Mobile in Uganda for a year. Inbound remittances to their mobile wallets. Today announced outbound to many places, including China and India. There is no mention of Ripple, but we know Terrapay is indeed integrated with Ripple. They were one of those Ripple partners from the earlier days. So Terrapay, a global payments infrastructure company, today announced its association with MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited, and they are focusing on India and China, the two biggest countries on planet Earth. Since 2020, Terrapay has been offering inbound remittances to MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited's mobile wallets in its drive to build global payment highways that interconnect mobile wallets and banks across the world. Terrapay aims to cultivate inclusivity, independence, digital mobility, and empowerment among everyone, with the additional outbound remittance channels now opened up. And so, speaking on the occasion, Willie Kenyeki, Regional Director of East and Southern Africa, Terrapay, said, "Since last year, Terrapay has partnered with MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited as a digital payments infrastructure company equipped to deliver inbound cross-border payments to mobile wallets in the East African region." So here they're talking specifically about cross-border payments. Now with the expanded partnership, we will be facilitating outbound international remittance payments to countries such as India and China. Beneficiaries, including friends and family of migrants across these countries, will now have access to assured, real-time, and convenient small-value ticket remittances channels connecting our global network of 4 billion plus bank accounts and 1.5 billion mobile wallets. So Terrapay, guys, looks like Terrapay is now expanding into more regions, and China and India, huge markets for payments. Ripple already has over 50% of India. This was as per an Ashish Burla statement back from 2018. Well, now we're seeing more integration with companies like Terrapay, looking to get more value cross borders through their systems. It doesn't mention Ripple or XRP in this article at all, as per the Wrath of Kahneman, but we know Terrapay Ripple enabled, so we know where this could be going, or where this will be going down the road if it is not already. Wanted to thank Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. T-Holbetic XRP posting this: Epay runs on Euronet's REN, which is integrated with Ripple. Euronet also owns Ripple customer RIA. So we heard about that RIA connection a few years ago. Now global payment, Epay provides local collection and payment services using Epay wallet or docking a simple API. Your customers will get funds at the fastest speed and lowest rates. That is per this document here. So with the technologies and programming interfaces of the REN payment platform from Euronet, Epay processes digital payments. So it looks like some screen grabs right here from the website. Another one here just explaining what Epay is. Epay, a secure, fast, and low-cost global payment provider established and headquartered in Hong Kong. So a little bit of the history there. Guys, I'll link all this in the description if you're interested. Finally, the Payments Hub access Euronet's unparalleled payment network, including connections to aggregators, credit card networks, digital wallets, Swift GPI, so they also use Swift, SEPA, Ripple, alternative payments like Alipay, WeChat Pay, Amazon Pay, etc. They are listing Ripple here. Of course, they are not the only payment hub selection, but it's good to know Epay, which is and can utilize RippleNet technology, now runs on Euronet's REN. And Euronet's REN, and this is where it's important, guys. We always have to piece together the puzzle and the connections and the partnerships. Euronet also owns Ripple customer RIA. So just to give you guys some quick context to that, this was from May of 2019. Ripple partners with RIA money transfer to power instant global payments. So again, we got to remember these connections because this is where it all comes together. Great news here from T-Holbetic XRP. Wanted to thank him for posting that. And another biggie here, guys, this from Leonidas. This is big. Gazen Global. They are a private corporation that have been created along the supply chains and industrial polymers. Their vision is to cater biodegradable plastic polymers from non-edible, cultivable feedstock to plastics converters globally through disruptive supply chain solutions. So a bit of a different type of company here, but as you guys can see, as per this screen grab, some of their equity stakes include Ripple. So right here from Leonidas' screen grab, our portfolio companies and technology investment reflects the quest for a holistic approach from feedstock to conversion product. Above all, we expect our core competences in plastics through upstream acquisitions. Succinctly, our mission is to form a state-of-the-art group of companies that thrives through structural upgrades by integrating disruptive blockchain and distributed ledger technology. Ultimately, these synergies allow us to take a leading role in sourcing raw materials in the adventing Internet of Things. So This to me sounds like a new vertical that Ripple hasn't talked too much about. As you guys can see, their equity stakes include Uphold, Ripple, Carbon, Automation Anywhere, and SC. And then number 3 down here, the alternative assets that they are using include the Flare Networks, XRP, and Stellar's XLM. So an interesting connection, a really great find here from Leonidas, moving away from payments. And this sounds like supply chain management. And not only that, has to do with the environment, cleaning up, moving away from plastics. So some interesting news there. And Leonidas links the Gazen Global website in here. If you guys are interested, you can read more on them. Here you can see right from the website, Ripple listed on there as equity stakes. And you can read some of their missions, their about form here. Interesting to see, some of these new verticals where Ripple is going, and even just from that screen grab, discussing the utilization of blockchain and distributed ledger technology in order to facilitate these types of processes. And just this last line down here, ultimately, these synergies allow us to take a leading role in sourcing raw materials in the adventing Internet of Things. Ripple knows and has been telling us from the beginning that cross-border payments is just the beginning of this. We are going to see way more use cases for the XRPL, and it is interesting that they also mention the Flare networks down here. So something to look forward to on the Flare networks as well. Wanted to thank Leonidas for posting that. But if we can't get the clarity in the US, is this going to be stifled? Are we going to have to wait longer? Well, Jungle Inc. has an opinion. His opinion about Mazzari's Ryan Selkis. Why does this effer get an opinion? If Ripple is not guilty of an illegal securities offering, the SEC has no power to regulate their actions. The SEC are not the defenders of the universe. They only regulate securities. Well, Mazzari's Ryan Selkis has weighed in on this. Ripple guilty of fraud. Now, this is his opinion. Guilty of fraud, but not securities law violations. Let me read you guys a little bit of this. It's kind of a bittersweet article. So Ripple Labs has been fighting the US SEC in an ugly court battle. Okay, we all know that. I'm going to skip down here. Mazzari's CEO Ryan Selkis believes that while Ripple is not guilty of the aforementioned, it is actually guilty of fraud and should be charged accordingly. So, not necessarily selling securities by and large, but should be charged for fraud. In a Twitter thread attacking the SEC's leadership, the exec noted they misled XRP holders over insider token selling, selectively disclosed data, and hyped partnerships as value additive to the underlying currency. Selkis also argued that had Gary Gensler been supportive of Hester Peirce's safe harbor proposal, Ripple's alleged fraudulent activities could have been fixed. Instead, SEC is fighting technical securities violations while ignoring the safe harbor, which would prevent fraud. So we know a little bit about Hester Peirce's safe harbor proposal. I have talked about it in several videos, basically giving some leeway, a 3-year grace period to allow projects to successfully launch before they have to worry about federal securities laws and what such a project would look like. So, in a perfect world, had this been implemented, we could have seen, this perhaps been the case for Ripple. Just coincidentally, as a side note, Hester Peirce did make an appearance at Crypto Connect in Miami. One thing is for sure, Hester Peirce didn't earn the tag Crypto Mom for nothing. She is the only person to have bought sanity amongst regulators to the space. The rest, Gary Gensler, the SEC, need to pay attention and listen. This coming from Wilbur54-XRP here on Twitter. And here's just a picture of Hester Peirce with Bob Zaglarski. He is a securities lawyer. And Hester Peirce just mentioning, thanks to everybody at Crypto Connect Miami for the chance to stop by your wonderful event this evening. So she was just there yesterday. But anyway, back to this. Selkis also took several examples from Ripple's business conduct to prove how the safe harbor proposal would have benefited the company. First of all, Peirce had proposed that sufficient information should be provided for third parties to be able to verify the token's transaction history. Selkis believes that this would have ensured Ripple supported a freely available and forkable block explorer. So he's kind of advocating for Ripple in terms of their business practices and their tokens, but maybe just not the fraud portion. Now he's alleging that Ripple committed fraud. I mean, I guess that is debatable. The next point related to the documentation of all token transactions information would have been able to account for all of Ripple's historical sales, along with lookups and discounts to business partners, according to Selkis. He also argued that the proposal would have allowed for the tracking of the sale of XRP holdings by Ripple's top executives, along with its affiliated foundations. He concluded that the proposal would have provided Ripple with 3 years to figure out a distribution and decentralization strategy. So, again, this safe harbor proposal would have benefited Ripple. The company either would have cleaned up its ongoing reporting or face enforcement action for fraud. That would have been a pro-growth and pro-innovation strategy. The executives would have improved their reporting or faced fraud charges, not mere securities violations. So it does beg the question, why are we hearing about these securities violations and not so much focusing on this alleged fraud? I mean, I'm not going to suggest that Ripple committed fraud. As expected, reactions were quick to come by, with John Deaton tweeting, testifying before Congress. Gensler refused to answer whether or not he had read Hester Peirce's safe harbor, which means he has not. The mere fact that he hasn't even taken the small amount of time to read her safe harbor proposal tells you everything you need to know about his intent. Which brings us back to the case, guys, which brings us back to why we should continue to question this. So this is John Deaton's thread regarding this matter. The one thing everybody should be able to agree with is that the SEC's lawsuit, as alleged, doesn't make legal sense. It didn't charge fraud, but used fraud-like language against the defendants. Ask yourself why. And so he just retweets out Ryan Selkis's tweet thread here, and I'll link this in the description if you guys want to read the full thing. John Deaton continues, instead, the SEC claims Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson were reckless in not knowing XRP was a security in 2013, even though Coinbase went to the SEC in 2019 to inform the SEC that Coinbase and its sophisticated securities lawyers determined XRP was not a security. After this meeting with the SEC, Coinbase then listed XRP. Clearly, the SEC offered Coinbase no rebuttal. So again, some interesting points here that just add layers to this story. Why would they not have said anything? So John Deaton continues, yet 18 months later, the SEC claims that executives were reckless in not knowing XRP was a security because it was so obvious to the world. But most absurd of all is that the SEC claims the XRP purchased from Coinbase by the retail holder, completely unaware of Ripple intending to stake his XRP to earn interest, independent of Ripple's efforts, is also an investment contract with Ripple. It is legal insanity. And yes, John Deaton makes some very good points here. You know, whether you think Ryan Selkis is correct or not, he also does make some good points here. Maybe Ripple should be tried for fraud. Maybe. I'm not suggesting that that should be the case 100%. Of course, my knowledge of securities laws is very limited compared to some of these guys here. So maybe that is the case. Maybe if there were a safe harbor proposal, we could have gotten out of this a little differently. But again, it all begs the question, as per John Deaton, why? You got to ask yourself why they are using fraud-like language against the defendants, but are not, in fact, charging for fraud in this case. Well, just more to add to this story, guys. This is from BondCrypt XRP. Gensler has made it clear earlier that the regulatory body thinks that the crypto market is not mature enough to handle a spot ETF. Now it seems the SEC would rather approve an Ethereum futures ETF than a spot Bitcoin ETF. So isn't that interesting? The SEC will rather pass an Ethereum futures ETF than a spot Bitcoin one, and here is why. So we heard about the rejection, and it didn't come out of the blue, as SEC Chief Chair Gary Gensler had made it clear earlier that the regulatory body thinks the crypto market is not mature enough to handle a spot ETF. Fine. Now it seems the SEC would rather approve an Ethereum futures ETF than a spot Bitcoin ETF. Bloomberg intelligence analyst James Seyffart has predicted that the crypto market could see its first Ethereum futures ETF by the first quarter of next year. He said, most market participants agree that a spot Bitcoin ETF would be superior to existing futures ETFs, yet the SEC approval of the former may be delayed until late 2022 or beyond. Though a spot Bitcoin ETF is possible in 2022, SEC approval may take longer due to concerns about regulation in the underlying Bitcoin market. The US SEC created history last month when it approved 2 Bitcoin futures ETFs nearly 4 years after the first Bitcoin ETF proposal was made. However, it continues to maintain a similar stance on the spot ETF, claiming the market is prone to manipulation. So just giving you guys some background on that. After the SEC chief's comments on the futures ETF market, several firms either withdrew their spot ETF proposal or filed a futures one. There are several firms that have filed for an Ethereum futures ETF as well, including Moneytree and Galaxy Digital. Sam Bankman-Fried, co-founder and chief executive officer of the crypto exchange FTX, believes the approval of an Ethereum futures ETF won't come as a surprise to many. He explained, Ethereum, maybe. I don't know, but it might be upon speculation that there might be an Ethereum futures-based ETF as well. That would not be a surprising development, considering we know where the SEC's allegiances lie. Favorable to Ethereum, but don't want to necessarily put the rubber stamp supporting or green lighting even Bitcoin in a large capacity. All things that make you question their motivation. Of course, we've got John Deaton's great tweet thread here questioning the same with regards to Ripple and fraud. And whether you think Ripple is guilty or not of fraud, it is a question we have to ask. Could they be guilty of fraud? And, in which case, this trajectory would have gone in a different direction. I think way more favorably for XRP holders. It certainly would not have been drawn out like this. XRP would probably still be listed on all the US exchanges. The safe harbor proposal would definitely have come into play. That could have also benefited Ripple the company and XRP sales. But guys, that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.